Thank you for double-clicking your mouse tonight. You're listening to the Midnight Frightcast in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Midnight Frightcast, episode number 17. We got everybody shaking their head and laughing at me right now because we just talked for about 5 minutes and I had forgot to push record. So, with me today, to my right, is Josh.
At least you got to go back and like fix your earlier mistake, like say the episode
Say
number.
the episode number and everything else. That's absolutely right.
Yeah, sitting to my right. This is not so special.
Wait a minute. But I gotta say, introduce our special guest.
It's not so special anymore. I've already done this once. Sitting to my right is my wife, Elizabeth.
Hi.
Yay.
All right. Sitting across from me is Greg.
I can't do it now. You totally blew it. In a world where Patrick is a freaking moron, you ruined the Don LaFontaine voice.
Yes. And then to my left, Thomas.
Here I am.
There he is. All right. Hey, we've got a special episode here. We're going to do our normal thing where we talk about what we've been watching. But as a group here, we went and saw a movie this afternoon. And we decided that, it was a special movie, one that we'd all been looking forward to. So that's why we decided to go see it as a group. And we decided that we would then podcast immediately after seeing it. So it's fresh in our minds. And we'll tell you what that movie is after we've talked about what we've been watching.
Yeah.
So who wants to jump in with what you've been watching?
Let's just go around the room. I'll start.
All right.
Because it's super short, and I've been consuming horror differently lately because I know.
Sorry, Tom wanted to borrow some paper.
Nice.
Take your time. I'll wait. I've been consuming horror differently because of Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh, God. Now, see, what's going to happen now is Tom's going to thump the table as he's writing, as he always does.
I'm just going to sit
So
here
go ahead and
wait.
keep talking. John.
Because our October challenge is coming up, I am now only going to try to consume horror, a couple of films for the podcast and talk about those. And I'm trying to not watch anything that I have not seen. So I'm trying to watch only things that I've seen. And again, it's super short. I watched a movie called The Ruins. Anybody seen that? 2006?
No.
Nobody really in it. Group of Americans go to Mexico to go on like vacation. They go and visit these Mayan ruins. They get stuck in one, and all sorts of weird shit happens, and bad things happen to them. So I watched The Ruins. It's actually a pretty good flick. Short, easy watch, 90 minutes. And then The Walking Dead dropped on Netflix, season 7. And since I didn't watch any of it, I just started watching that.
I thought you didn't even watch season 6 yet.
No, I have seen season 6.
Oh, okay.
I watched all the way through to where Negan had them at the end of season 6, and then I had already seen episode 1, but I rewatched it anyway because of the deaths that happened.
Little baseball playing.
Yeah. So I'm watching that. So far, I'm not that digging it. So not really digging it that much. I'm kind of over Walking Dead, to be honest with you. I want to watch it because I've gotten this far, but I'm just not digging where it's sitting right now.
I think 7 was really good. I think you might enjoy 7.
Okay, well, I'm only a couple episodes deep, so we'll see if it gets better. But I don't know. We'll see. For me, that's it. Walking Dead in the Ruins.
Well, you said we're going around the table, so Elizabeth, what have you been watching?
Oh, well, besides the back of my eyelids,
That means she's been sleeping.
She's been sleeping
I know.
a lot.
I work a lot. Trying to think if I've watched anything this week. Well, I mean, I guess I can say one thing. I had some free time without kids. I watched a little movie called Beauty in the Briefcase with Hilary Duff.
That sounds like a really good horror film.
Wow.
It sounds horrific.
Or a porn film.
That's what I was going to. There's no kids, so I watched a little porn.
You know, who doesn't? Yeah, no. I don't get to watch TV.
That's sad.
It is.
It is sad.
And I wish I was joking. Oh, we watched football last night,
We did watch football.
and I missed Ohio State losing
What?
to Oklahoma.
To Oklahoma. That's absolutely
They
right.
lost.
The one and only time I will say it, Boomer Sooner.
So that just means when we lose to Ohio State,
We're gonna look
they'll already have one loss.
We're not going to talk about that.
right.
It's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Yes. I guess that means me.
That is you.
All right. I have been actually able to watch some stuff. I've been jonesing to get caught up on my Netflix queue, namely the shows that I have on Netflix. That being House of Cards Season 5. I have finally completed. Holy God, I love that show.
Real quick, sorry. What? I think I've only seen through season 4. Can you
Okay.
say how 4 ended or not?
I can. I'd have to think
okay.
about it. Oh, Frank Underwood and Claire were down in the Situation Room, and the terrorists had the family.
Wow. I can watch the whole season
kidnapped?
5 then. Okay.
Yeah. Have you seen that part? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, what are we talking about right now, Greg?
House of
House of
Cards.
Cards.
Oh, okay, sorry. My
I don't
apologies.
watch that.
It's phenomenal.
It is.
Absolutely phenomenal. I just started, after I finished House of Cards Season 5, I started Season 5 of Orange is the New Black. I'm about halfway through that. Not as impressed as I have been with the show. It's a little weird, kind of quirky, but not as good as it has been in the past. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. Started last Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday.
It was Tuesday.
American Horror Story Cult, episode number 1. I was pleasantly surprised.
I was too.
I gotta say, Sarah Paulson, is that right? She's amazing.
You all
she was-
suck.
Wait, you haven't seen it yet?
I don't get to watch it. I don't have cable, and it's not dropping on Hulu like it's supposed to. Hulu has FX. Usually, episodes drop the very next day, and it is only up to Hotel on Netflix, on Hulu.
Dang it. We
So
can't
I don't
talk
know where
about
it
it.
I would
Oh,
say
you
I would
talk
say
about it, I
check
don't
out their
care.
I would say check out their website and see if they've got it posted
Because I
there.
didn't see Roanoke either.
Okay,
I
interesting.
haven't seen Roanoke either.
Other than that, I have been getting my fill of football. Football. NFL started today, which, Josh, you always find a way to screw me out of watching the draft. Today, you screwed me out of watching opening Sunday of NFL football. How do you continue to do this every freaking year?
How did I screw you out of watching football?
I was at a
Because
movie.
you got to go see an awesome movie
movie.
instead. Wah! I had to go see a movie. Wah!
Don't be like that.
Sorry.
I've
Yes,
been
but,
watching football.
yes, but I was sitting next to Greg and I saw him checking his phone. Were you checking scores?
Oh yeah, I know.
Were you
Yes.
checking scores?
Fantasy football.
As
Yes,
soon
I
as-
was.
As
Yes,
soon
he
as that
was.
movie was over, you heard ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum. That's what you hear on his phone all the time.
Before we move on to Tom, I'm going to say you mentioned Orange is the New Black. I would
Yes.
suggest another show called Wentworth.
I have heard, yeah, you've told me about that
Yes.
before. And
And same situation in I think it's New Zealand is
Yeah.
where it's taped, and it's much more raw
okay,
than what Orange is the New Black is.
it's not as happy-go-lucky. You feel
No.
good for the characters and
Yeah,
that kind of situation. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
Well, there's always Oz.
No, we're not going to watch that.
Thomas.
Is that Netflix as well, Wentworth?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Finished Game of Thrones. Loved it. Finished Twin Peaks. Hated it.
Yeah, I was disappointed as well.
Yeah, I remember how a couple podcasts ago I said he's going to wrap it up with this brilliant thing. No, that didn't happen. Saw the movie Hidden Figures, and I loved it. Have you guys seen this
I
movie?
have
yeah,
not
know it.
seen it. It's in my queue.
I just absolutely loved it.
Rachel really enjoyed it.
Yes.
So.
My goodness, good acting. And I as well watched American Horror Story. I honestly thought, Greg, you'd have a tough time with that one. I really did, but
We'll grace that subject here in a bit.
okay.
All right, I guess it's on to me. My wife and I went out and saw. We were looking for a movie to watch on our anniversary last week, and we went and saw The Hitman's Bodyguard with Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah. And
Samuel L. Jackson, he just doesn't do very many movies.
no, he really doesn't. Him
About
and
the same
him,
as Morgan Freeman.
and Gene Hackman.
Yes.
Those guys hardly do anything. So I was pleasantly surprised by that movie. It was extremely funny. It was kind of reminiscent of Deadpool in the way some of the fight scenes were filmed.
Okay.
And like I said, pleasantly surprised. Really enjoyed that one. And then on TV, I've been catching a couple of different series. One is called Disjointed, and it's I believe it's on Netflix.
Yes.
Kathy Bates runs a marijuana shop in California post recreational passage, and some of it I really like and some of it I don't. One of the things I don't like is there's a laugh track associated with it, and I hate people trying to tell me when I need to laugh or what's funny. And there's times
Tom's our laugh track.
yeah. But some of it, like I said, some of it I like, some of it I don't, and sometimes I think they just use it as a way to cuss all the time because they drop the MF quite a bit in it, and it's like, well, that's not necessary for that dialogue. But
Have you watched The Ranch at all?
I have watched The Ranch. I couldn't get into it. I saw like the first 3 episodes and couldn't get into it.
Is it similar style? Like, is it shot sitcom style with the laugh track?
It is shot sitcom style with a laugh track. Yes.
Okay, so it's a rated R sitcom like The Ranch is. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
It's-
But The Ranch to me is like, I don't know.
It's tough. I've gone back and I've watched it a second time.
Is that with Ashton Kutcher?
Ashton
Kutcher,
I
yeah,
haven't seen
Danny
it.
Masterson.
Sam Neill, the
Sam
best
Neill,
mustache in
yeah.
the business.
Yeah. Best voice in the business. That
Fact.
guy's, yeah.
Fact. I'm still not completely sold on it, but I'm intrigued by the storylines. Ashton Kutcher he annoys the crap out of me, and that's just the base of it.
Yeah. There was just something about it. It. To me, the first few episodes didn't tell me what it wanted to be. If it was supposed to be a soap opera, if it was supposed to be a comedy, I don't know what. I couldn't tell what it was. Okay, and then the third thing that I've been watching, it's a show, and I don't even know what station it's on. I caught it on Netflix. It's called Riverdale. And basically, it's Archie and the gang. So we got Archie and Jughead and Veronica and Betty and Josie and the Pussycats. But it's really dark. So they kind of took it to because it starts off with a murder and all this other stuff. So
Animated?
No, live action.
Interesting.
Yeah, and Molly Ringwald plays Archie's mom.
Nice.
There's a bit of trivia.
Riverdale.
Oh, because you want to see what Molly Ringwald looks like now when she's 50 years old?
No, he just wants to
Would you
fantasize
blame you?
about the characters having sex.
Yeah.
That he's always been fantasizing.
I'm gonna say
Shut it, Tom.
stuff happens.
Sweet.
So they
Archie.
completely take the innocence out of the whole Archie and the gang thing.
So Greg
Is it more
basically just
Archie
wrote
and
down Riverdale, Molly Ringwald, stuff happens. Good notes, Greg.
No, actually, I think he's just thinking about teenager sex. Is what he's thinking about.
You keep saying Archie and the gang. I keep thinking Archie and the gang. Never mind.
Once again, going back to porn. Every time I think of Archie and the gang, I go back to, I think it was a Police Academy episode when Steve Guttenberg and some other guys were like going undercover as a gang, and he kept saying his name was Jughead, and they said, "What's your gang?" He says, "The Archies, the Archies." Anyway. Yeah, Greg's looking at me like I've lost my fucking mind.
In a world where Patrick loses his fucking mind.
All right, guys. Anybody else want to throw in something what they've been watching while did it spark anything? Otherwise, let's.
That was the weirdest start ever.
It really was. All right. A while ago, we found out a little movie was being made, and originally this movie was a book made into a TV miniseries when many of us were younger. I think Tom and I were teenagers, and Greg and Josh were probably much younger than that.
I was 8.
Okay. And what was
I
that?
was 40. Is that what he said?
4.
Oh, I thought he said 40. I was
Right.
like, that I would have gone with.
And once we found out they were remaking it, we were kind of skeptical about it at first, and then we saw some of the trailers coming out for it. And a couple weeks ago, they had like this entire 4-minute trailer opening for Annabelle. And the movie is Stephen King's It.
Yes.
And we decided we wanted to go as a group, check this thing out, and podcast about it immediately afterwards. So I'm going to do the normal intro to it. You know, the description they have in IMDb is not quite right because it says in 1960, and that's...
We need to touch on that.
Yeah. So 7 preteen outcasts fight an evil demon who poses as a child-killing clown. 30 years later, they reunite to stop the demon once and for all when it returns to their hometown. On IMDb, it's got a 7 out of 10. And on Rotten Tomatoes, we have 87% on the tomato meter and 89% on the audience score. So
That's weird. It was 88 and 91 last night.
Oh, was it?
Now it is opening weekend, so
Yeah.
accuracy those scores are gonna. I mean, those will change.
They will
again
fluctuate.
in the next couple of weeks.
And what did we say? 117 million in the box office
Yeah, it was
opening weekend.
$35 million budget.
Yeah.
So they smashed
and
it.
they still have to add today's money to it.
Yeah.
So we'll see we'll see how that comes out. So, who wants to start us off?
Yeah. Well, so 3 of us decided that we wanted to go see this movie as a group. I feel like 2 of us were dragged to this movie.
It's not just a feeling.
Against
High five.
their will.
High five.
So maybe we should pick on Greg since he was one of those people that were dragged to the movie, and let him go first.
In a world, Greg gets thrown under the fucking bus again. All right. Shit's about to get real.
Why were you dragged? You have to start with that.
Because I like you guys. We'll leave it at that. So, as Patrick stated, this movie came out a while back when all of us were significantly younger. I was apparently 7 when this came out, which is going to make this story sound a little pathetic. Have I told this story on here?
I
Probably have, but let's rehash it.
Yeah.
I was 7 and I was forced to watch this movie from my neighbor. I was forced to watch the original miniseries, the TV miniseries by my neighbor. I did not sleep that night. My parents did not sleep that night because I was fucking terrified of this goddamn clown. I have had clown issues since everybody's laughing at me and you all can suck it.
I'm not laughing.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you.
You're looking bright red, you dick.
So would you say it's at the point of chlorophobia then, or?
I don't know if I've ever gotten to that point. Like, clowns don't scare me. They creep me out.
Okay.
But it's not like an elevator opens and there's clowns in there and I'm like petrified.
And you're directing that, by the way.
We'll see.
That's fine. I've had issues watching it to the point where I tried watching it when I was older. I think I was in high school and a bunch of my friends got it and I couldn't get through it. I had a tough time watching it. So I decided, none of you, I decided when we were going to go see this that I was going to give myself an awesome 34th birthday present and I was going to overcome my childhood fear of this stupid movie. And I did. I sat through it.
Excellent.
I'm proud of myself for that. This movie was goddamn terrible.
Go.
I'm terribly kidding. No, it was actually not bad. I was impressed. I'm gonna have trouble kind of regurgitating my thoughts here, only because this movie was supposed to be more on point with the book. Right. I have
Now,
not.
keep that thought. Because we talked about this earlier, but we didn't decide before we started podcasting. Are we doing spoilers and
Yeah.
are we giving the warning and everything else?
Just
Yes.
give the warning. Spoilers ahead.
Okay, spoilers ahead, everybody. Spoilers ahead.
And go. I have not read the book. I don't recall much of the miniseries, so I don't know how this movie compares to either or. The movie, I felt, was split up into 2 parts. I felt like it was a coming-of-age tale for the kids, which I thought the coming of age part of the entire thing was the best part that movie had going for it. You've really connected with the characters. You really felt for them when they were going through their issues and all that. The other part was obviously the horror part of this movie, which was decent. I didn't feel like it was a solid horror film. There were some good horror aspects. The one scene that I pulled out that was probably the best of the entire movie horrifically was the scene where Bev is looking into the sink.
Yeah.
Amazing. That was absolutely stunning what they did with that. And I probably look really sick right now for saying that, but
No.
it was awesome what they did with that. I thought Pennywise the clown looked like a goofy son of a bitch. I could not get over his look. It was terrible. Stick Tim Curry in there and it would have been probably 10 times better. I was not a fan of what they did with him. I liked his quick transformations from the goofy clown. Are you writing notes down? Mm-hmm. Oh, nice. I liked his transformations between the goofy clown into the horror demon, whatever it was. Like especially the scene down when he kidnapped. I think the kid's name was Patrick in the sewers.
Yeah.
Yes.
When he transferred into the demon or whatever that happened, and when he was in Bill's basement when it flooded.
Mm-hmm.
I thought those were two probably of his better scenes, but going throughout the rest of it. Oh, sorry, the scene with the projector was probably the only scene that really kind of made me jump.
Okay.
Otherwise, I wasn't overly thrilled with how they went about the horror scenes because they just felt very formulaic, for lack of a better word. I don't know. It kind of felt like, okay, something's going to happen here. There it is. So, it was a good movie. I really did enjoy it, especially going in with the thoughts that I had, because I literally had to psych myself up to go and see this movie. So I was impressed for what it was. I kind of wish it was a little bit better. There was actually a point towards the end where I was thinking, I wish they would do a little bit more with the clown on the more evil side instead of the goofy, like jumping, doing the washboard dance in the box, because I literally LOL on that.
I heard you do that. I was like,
so that is my thoughts.
I have a question for you.
Shoot.
But she's got to leave soon, so I want to get some of her thoughts on the mic before she goes. And then I'm going to come back because I got a question for you. Elizabeth, I sat next to you during this movie, so I got all the poop your pants experience from you. So let's hear some thoughts, or you have questions, or what are you thinking?
Well, for most of the movie, I hated you.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you so.
Mm-hmm.
I get dragged to these things. Let's clear this up. I get dragged to these things for his entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why I do this to myself.
Let the record state that the dictionary definition of a good wife is Elizabeth.
I believe so.
Questionable.
No, I was kind of with Greg about how I probably watched the original miniseries once as a kid, and it freaked me out. Maybe not to the point that it did you, but it was not a movie that I chose to revisit ever.
Sure.
So having said that, I don't remember a lot except that feeling of you don't want to watch this again. I kind of left pleasantly surprised by what they did. Definitely, it had its moments. I thought look-wise with some of the things that Pennywise did with the mouth thing and that whole like dimension in his throat.
Yeah, that was weird.
And stuff like the things that they could maybe do now that they couldn't do 20 some years ago. I agree with you in terms of, music gave a lot of things away, which maybe for somebody like me is a good thing because I knew it was coming. But I am very curious to see where they go if they go to I'm assuming they will eventually get to the second part. Because now you've built as the kids I don't want to say relationship or bond, but now you've seen how they've gotten that far. where does it go from here? And obviously, it's kind of left it open to continue. I haven't read the book either, so I really don't know how it all goes. And again, without remembering the movie or anything. I don't know. There were questions I had, and I mean, I was really. This is going to sound so bad, and Josh made fun of me at the time. Spoiler again. I'm sure. I was really hoping Georgie wasn't dead.
That was the best thing ever. At the end, when he's talking to
the brothers.
At the end, when the brothers are talking,
And he's like, I just want to go home. I love you.
Yeah. I looked over and Elizabeth was crying. She was like, she has tears running down her face in the middle of the scene.
I'm a mom with two boys.
She looks
okay?
I was like, why are you crying? She's like, I was just hoping Georgie wasn't really dead. It's my favorite part of the movie.
Oh my God. Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm fairly neutral. It was better than I was expecting. But didn't blow me away. My hope is that, when you talk about how everything was kind of formulaic and whatnot, if they go to the second one as adults, that it gets a little darker, scary. You go in more in depth with.
It really almost has to. And again, this is coming from not having read the book. So I'm hoping that it does that as well, just because, you take ourselves, for instance, having seen it as kids, terrified of this is actually a very interesting metaphor for how the movie plays out in our lives, where you grow up, things don't scare you as much as they did when you were a kid. And so you have to almost up the ante like multiple levels.
Oh, yeah.
In order to continue on.
For sure. Like, if I'd seen that as a kid, the clown would have scared me or moved me in a different way more than the two boys talking to each other and me bawling was like, oh my God. Yeah. So
that was my question really then. Had you seen this version when you were 7 and not the version that you saw, would it have been different?
Oh, he wouldn't have gone to.
I would have been institutionalized.
Oh, really? This version would have been worse as a kid than what you saw as a kid?
Consider the timing. They didn't have all the computer stuff that they were able to do in this one versus what they had with that. Like, I remember I'm trying to think back because this is taking me back. Seriously. Like whenever it came out, I remember the library scene where the balloons were popping in front of people's faces. That to me was horrific.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Right? It doesn't seem that scary now compared to what we just saw. But yeah, if I had seen this, shit, dude, I wouldn't have slept for like the rest of my life.
Did anybody think about that? You say that, and then now that I think about it, did anybody else notice that it's 27 years later?
Yeah, I did. I was thinking that right now.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I'm sure that was planned. I think that having just watched the miniseries not too long ago, that I like this one way better than what we just saw today.
The miniseries?
No, I like what we saw today.
Oh, you like what you saw
10
today?
times better.
Okay.
Just because I don't really remember it when I was a kid watching it, and I watched it as an adult, and I found it absolutely not scary at all. The miniseries. Tim Curry was great in it, but this movie didn't scare me either. I mean, I don't really get scared by Stephen King movies. One of the things I wanted to point out that I liked about this movie that he does do in his books, if you read his books, he has victims a lot in his books, and they're usually kids, and he gives you their backstory, and you find it's usually almost every time there's some kid that's been abused or sexually abused. And at least he got to that point of why they are kind of the losers club, which the miniseries doesn't do at all.
True.
All they do is they go one by one, and they show the frightening things that happened to them, and then they all figure it out. And they show a little bit with the bullies, but this one delved into why they are who they are and why they're together. And it's not just because of these bullies that bully them. They're together because they've all been traumatized.
Right.
So anyway, that's why I liked it better.
Did anybody else feel really uncomfortable with the Beverly scene with her dad? Not just her dad, but the pharmacist.
Yeah, because we were joking about that over on the end of our row.
I mean, I was watching that going, oh my God. and Tom.
Well, Patrick, you were touching yourself at that time.
I wasn't touching somebody. No. Tom,
So that wasn't nacho cheese?
I just thought this would be, oh, gross. I just,
No wonder it was so warm.
no,
Wow, that escalated quickly.
Tom,
Sorry.
as an actor, this is something that I was watching. As an actor, would you be able to do a role like that?
It'd be hard.
Yes,
Oh,
so-
God.
Jeez.
Oh my
It'd be
god!
As in difficult. I mean, the pharmacist. I mean, you can get away with the lascivious looks and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but the father that was just
Yeah, that'd be
crawling
hard.
on top of this 14-year-old actress. I was just thinking, God, that's got to be.
Yeah.
You got to be careful I would assume, as a director and filmmaker and stuff like that.
That's actually more of what I was
to
thinking, too. It
be
was like,
able to do something like that.
You know,
Well, okay,
you wonder
that was-
sometimes in those kinds of scenes, like I read when the Lolita was done, you know, you have to have the parent on the
Right.
set
Oh, I'm sure.
because so they can throw in the towel, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so which scene was more uncomfortable then? Was it the scene where her dad's getting on top of her, or the scene where they're at the swimming pool or the swimming hole?
Okay, I'm really glad you brought that up.
Yeah,
I felt as like if I was a filmmaker, I don't know that I would have done that scene. That scene to me that made me more uncomfortable. I
But
don't
did
know
you
why.
feel it was necessary in the movie? Like, did you feel?
No.
Like I get it, and I think didn't you say one of you two that's read the book that there's a scene that they omitted from this?
They did
because-
omit
Yeah.
it.
because it shouldn't be filmed.
And I don't even know if it was filmed.
It can't be filmed.
So what they're doing is they're watering that scene down. Is essentially what it's doing.
Right.
I see what you're saying. now.
And
I
Yeah,
Yeah,
forgot
because
about
in the book, at the end,
Yeah, you could
when
say
they
it.
seal the bond, instead of sealing the bond the way they did in the movie today, they sealed the bond by each one of the boys had sex with Beverly.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
that. And why do they need to do that in the book? I can't remember.
It was, I don't know. It was just the way they sealed the bond, and I can't remember exactly why they did it that way in the book. So,
Stephen King. Wow, Stephen King. Wow.
Stephen
Stephen King is a twisted man, apparently.
Yeah. How can we seal this bond? Well, we could cut our hands, or we could have sex with Beverly.
All in favor?
so
This just got weird.
so I do appreciate the way they sealed the bond in this version.
It gave you the same idea as what that would have done, but
Right.
it wasn't crossing.
Yeah, because there would have been
lines.
blood either way.
Oh my god! Patrick went
Speaking of
there.
crossing lines,
Oh yeah, he drew the line in the sand. I don't even want to go now.
But
He wins.
but going back to that other question, did that make me feel uncomfortable? Maybe a little bit, but I kind of saw where they were going with it. And would it have been any different if they were wearing swim trunks and she was in a swimsuit?
The
yes and no.
I think
asked the
I
same
think
thing.
it would have been different.
society places a difference on the two outfits.
Sure,
Yeah.
Right.
sure.
You know, you post a picture of yourself in a swimsuit on Facebook, there's nothing. But if you post a picture of yourself in your underwear, that's a little different. The connotation is different.
Right.
And when you ask if it was or was it necessary, I get the part where she shows him up and jumps off and whatnot. I mean, I kind of get it and I don't, because at that point, then do you need to film the after, or were you just trying to add on more to her storyline?
Was that the first time in the movie though that you really saw the bond between the group of kids?
Well, and that's where I was
you know
going to
what
go
I mean?
with it, because to me it felt like they were so comfortable with each other that it didn't matter to them.
Yeah.
I see.
At first, I mean, when you see, I'm sorry, go ahead. You had something you wanted to say.
This is not what made me uncomfortable. What made me uncomfortable was thinking the filmmakers themselves
Right.
are planning these shots
Oh,
and they're
yeah.
having to do these things because, you know, I work with teenage girls too, and I've seen them in plays. They want to do certain things, and I'm like, nope.
Nope.
You can't do
You can't do that, yeah.
because I don't want
Yeah.
to see it. And so as filmmakers, and we all know, they didn't just shoot that once. I
Right.
mean, that took a really long time, and she really is, 14 years old?
She's 15.
Something.
15
But
now, so she
they
was probably...
walked into that situation at the same time knowing they were going to have to do that. That was
Sure,
like
I'm not making a
they
judgment.
came
I'm just
up
saying
with
it's uncomfortable
It's-
knowing that's
Yeah.
how it actually got filmed.
Yeah.
And the other on the flip side, both figuratively and literally, is we don't know what was on the other side of the camera.
Well, that's true.
You know, there could have been a crew full of females that were
Yeah.
shooting
That's
that particular
true.
scene.
That's true.
So
Okay.
Yeah, limited people
exactly.
on set.
Yeah, it doesn't give her actual age on IMDb, so
And-
No,
I
I
have
had
no
to
idea.
I had
And I
to
want to bring up one other point kind of with this. The other thing that must have been kind of traumatic is for the overweight kid when he's getting
Yeah,
what's happening to him
and
is
the names he was called.
Yeah.
and just the whole and playing. I mean, they
Everything.
physically play with his chest, and that's got to be kind of a hard thing for a kid who's 11 years old.
Yeah.
So I just find that stuff interesting.
So I would say these kids probably felt safe and secure in their environment
Oh, I'm sure
during,
they did.
during the filming of
Yeah.
this. Then
And with I mean, there's got to be an amount of bonding
Right.
between even though they play the characters they did. That Henry is it Bowers.
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be a level of trust between those boys and that one kid for sure.
was there, in any of your opinions, was there any weak actor in that show?
I thought the kid actors were all great. Some of the one-liners I thought were really good. I still didn't love the kid who the joking kid.
Richie.
The kid that played Richie, he's the kid from Stranger
Stranger
Things.
Things.
And I thought he was the weakest in that.
I did too. And I don't know if it's the dialect he was given or the direction he was given, but
That character too, though. Yeah, I remember that character
It's-
from the
that
miniseries.
character
It's
is
obnoxious.
annoying
Wasn't
as
the best
yeah.
either.
No.
no, the kid with the crazy mom had the funniest lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eddie.
Eddie.
With the broken arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that made me cringe.
I didn't feel there was. I mean, if I were to say anybody was really weak or anything like that, maybe I'd go along with Richie. But I really didn't think anybody was weak in this.
I honestly didn't either. I thought that they complemented each other very nicely, and you felt like it was a real group of friends.
That's true.
Yeah.
It felt very cohesive and all that. And actually, if I had any critiques to make on that, I wish they would have added. I'm probably gonna screw up his name, but Mikey.
Mike.
Yeah.
I wish they
little
would have
more.
brought him in a little sooner because I thought that whole group was just solid.
Yeah, well, and even after they became a group, I felt like he wasn't as like
He was still an outsider. A little bit.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
he even refers to himself as still an outsider.
Yeah.
And
And he wants to, or he
Yeah.
should stay that way. Yeah, he is in the miniseries. You guys say is the one that it starts out with, right?
So in the miniseries, he's the glue of the whole group.
isn't he the one
that
who
brings-
figures it out in
He's
the
at the
miniseries?
as an adult. He's at the very beginning because at the beginning,
Because he's the one that has to call everybody.
Sorry, yeah, at the beginning of the miniseries, it doesn't start out with the Georgie death.
No.
It starts out with there's a girl riding a bike and she's out playing, and Pennywise is hiding behind the sheets that are being hung outside.
Yep.
And he kills a small girl first, and then Mike Hanlon comes to that scene, and that's how he discovers
scene was
that.
scary.
Because Mike
Actually,
is the only one who
miniseries, not
stayed in Derry.
He's the only one that stayed in there. He's the one that
He's the
discovers
librarian, I
that
think.
it is
Yeah.
back, and everybody has to come back.
Yeah.
So he was the glue
Right.
of the group in the miniseries. Completely different in this movie.
yeah,
He's in the way back of the group in this movie.
Okay, so that being said, because I like I said before, one of the most vivid scenes that I have from the original viewing of it, besides the gutter boat scene, was the library scene. In the miniseries, is there a little bit more within the library besides what we saw in this?
There's a couple library scenes.
There's more
The
information.
ones with
Which I remember.
balloons popping up and popping in front of people's
jeez.
faces.
There's information given from Pennywise in that scene, which is
Right.
not given in.
So is that
this one.
Is that because they jump back and forth between kids and adults in the miniseries?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
right,
was that
yeah.
an adult side?
That was the kid side.
Kid side.
Oh crap! Okay.
Yeah.
But I did like that they incorporated the whole Easter egg hunt stuff into this one. That
Yeah.
was pretty cool.
I didn't get that. Is that from the book?
Yeah.
Because I didn't read the book
Okay.
either,
Yeah.
so I didn't.
Oh.
I don't.
Yeah,
I didn't
well,
get-
that I'm not sure if that the action that happened in the movie was in the book, but the storyline behind it, where the kids were on that Easter egg hunt
Oh,
when,
right.
when the thing exploded.
okay.
we need to read the book.
Yeah. Apparently.
Well, I guess you need to.
Gotta read.
Okay, so we said
commitment.
we said who we thought the weakest person in the show was. Of those child actors, who do you think was the best?
Go ahead, Tom.
I don't know. The guy who played Billy was really good.
Yeah.
And I'm just forgetting their names. And I thought the kid who played Ben was really good.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I would
He
agree.
had some subtle stuff too.
He did some incredibly subtle stuff that was amazing
And I was
to watch.
laughing at it. Like when he's that first scene where he meets Beverly. I mean, that was
Yeah.
a comic routine.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I agree. I think Ben, he showed some real acting chops with what he was able to do, especially in that scene where he's getting sliced by what's his
Yeah.
face.
Yes.
Name.
Oh,
Henry Bauer.
yes. That was incredible what he was able to do with that.
Yeah.
I thought the girl that played Beverly was incredible.
Yeah.
was great.
And
I mean, looking at these kids, if they continue acting, I see incredible,
things.
incredible
Really good things.
careers for all of them. I would say the young man playing Ben was probably one of my favorites, just because of those subtle things that he was doing. You don't see that in child actors. You see that in people who've been acting for years upon years, and he just had it. And also the same thing with Beverly.
Yeah.
She was doing things that would, and I don't know if that's from the directing they got or if they had coaching as they were going along or what, but I felt what they were doing was incredibly natural all the way through.
I read a
Yes,
story
absolutely.
with her. She was part of a nationwide search, I believe.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure they saw thousands.
Yeah, I thought Beverly had the toughest
Definitely.
job
Yeah.
out of
Yes.
all of them.
I would agree with that.
So, but yeah, Ben and Beverly were my two.
And that character had, I thought, the worst of the things that happened to them. And their moment of, well, maybe not the worst. It was the most detailed in the
Beverly?
bathroom.
She definitely had it the worst out of all of them, I thought.
Yeah.
between the
for-
exploding sink and her dad coming
For
out?
what happened to her?
No, I mean,
Like the storyline
The,
behind.
the backstory.
no, I mean that, but I mean, I would say Billy and his brother was probably pretty horrific too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it escalated.
I just had a couple of thoughts really quick that I wanted to drop in here. First of all, they changed the decade, correct? From the
They
miniseries
did,
to the new
because it
one?
was supposed to take place in
It was the
1960s, but it's
60s,
1980s.
88. It's 88 when this one opened. So that was the first one I was like, and it didn't matter. It didn't really matter that much.
I
but
suppose that-
I noticed it.
it's probably easier to do them currently to film it rather than
Well, because
I wondered if that was the
something I'm
reason.
wondering. Well, if the first one took place in, like, if the original book or whatever took place in 61, then 88 would be the 27 years later.
Yeah.
So maybe they were just trying to keep it consistent with that 27-year-old or 27-year
right.
event.
Yeah. So that was the first thing I noticed. And then, God damn it, I should have written things down because I had a couple of thoughts.
Gray can't answer this question, but did you guys see the poster that was in the bedroom? Josh?
The New Kids on the Block one?
No. It was one of the very first shots.
Uh,
You'd particularly like it.
what did I
There's
miss?
a poster of the Gremlins
Oh, and which
Oh,
bedroom?
nice.
in Billy's
And
bedroom.
Billy- oh, yeah, I didn't
was
even see it.
Intro
Damn.
scene. The intro scene.
Did you see it? Oh, I didn't even see it. Damn. The boat scene was way more rough to watch in this new version than when they showed him ripping his arm off. Even I was like, "Holy shit, this is gonna be a rough watch."
I loved that scene with him and Pennywise in that. I thought that was a fun scene to watch.
The boat scene.
Yeah, that first encounter with Pennywise.
Yeah, that right away I was like, this is gonna be a rough watch. If they're showing that, this is gonna go horribly wrong. And then it kind of didn't for me. It was weak sauce from there for me.
There wasn't a
oh,
lot
go
of
ahead.
there wasn't a lot of killing in this one from Pennywise. So I'm gonna go, like I said, with the thought that as again, if they make another one, that as the adults in that one, it's gonna get a lot darker. I would think. Or in this day and age, how sensitive do you become to killing, showing
Right.
children?
Right. But then again, begs the question: does there have to be killing in order for it to be considered a horror film or something like that? Because if we go back and look at Poltergeist, which scared the shit out of me when I was a kid, there was no killing in that I remember.
No. No, I think it's just if it's a horror movie, it needs to be horrific scenes.
Which doesn't
I thought
have to include killing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, if you look at the scene where Beverly's in the bathroom and she's looking down into the sink, that's a dictionary definition of a horror scene right there. There was no killing. There was nothing.
Right.
Well, we don't know where the blood came from, but
Yeah.
From the sink.
Duh.
See, I always
24 feet down from there, dick.
I always
24 feet
I always
down.
think the anticipation of what's going to happen is scarier.
Right.
So that's why I find the scene with Pennywise and Georgie scary, because you know something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And you're just waiting for it. And that to me is always more frightening than what we did see.
And that's the mark. I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish.
No, that's all I had.
I was gonna say that's the mark of a good filmmaker, a good director, is they're able to project that onto the audience and saying, what is your mind telling you right now?
Yeah.
Because everybody in that theater is knowing what's going to happen, but they've got their own projections, and that's why I think coming from the kid who was terrified of this movie for 34 years, 27 years, the mind is an incredibly powerful thing, and for the directors to be able to utilize that really makes for a much better horror film experience. Because you look at like the 80s slashers of Halloween, nothing on Halloween because I love the Halloween series, or Friday the 13th, or it's a Freddy Krueger one.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
That one. There's not a whole lot of thought that goes into it. You know somebody's going to die. It's more of a matter of how they're going to die versus, are they going to die? So I thought that they did a really good job being able to project that to the audience and allow them to kind of play with their own fears and see what was going to happen on that end.
I just never got that feeling once during this movie at all. I never got that anticipation, what's going to happen feeling.
But maybe, I mean, have you watched it? I mean, I guess you've watched, or you probably know more than like Greg and I, who it's been 20 years
7.
plus. Yeah, exactly.
Or even to a new audience, they
who's
would be
never-
looking that they haven't read the book, they haven't seen the original.
Yeah.
They'd be coming into this not knowing if which kid is going to bite it. Which, I mean,
Yeah.
because Georgie dies right away. It's like,
Yeah.
oh shit, which one's going to die next?
Yeah.
You know, but for us, we already know that they survive.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of really good spots in this movie that were not in the miniseries. I loved the scene when they go into the well house when they're all in there as the group, and Eddie falls to the floor and all that set up. I loved visually.
Visually, this
It was
entire movie
fantastic.
was amazing.
Just I never got that feeling of even knowing that they weren't gonna die. I just even if I didn't know, I just don't feel like I would have gotten that tense. I know what it feels like to be tense and have that holy shit here it comes moment. I just never got it at all during this movie.
Like when you watched Last Shift.
Yeah, had that the whole movie, but I did like Pennywise's look in this movie.
I loved Pennywise's look.
Yeah.
Sorry, Greg, but I did.
Yeah,
It was
you're entitled to your opinion.
because when Tim Curry did it, they made him look like a clown. This one made him look like a clown that has survived decades.
Yeah,
And that's essentially what the demon has done.
I liked it until, I think someone else mentioned this, until we saw down his throat. And I was like, now we're into a little bit of, it's
That
not
was
scary
to
now.
me that was a little bizarre.
It's not scary now. It's like,
it's
just
it's
weird.
the light thing though. Remember I don't remember what they call it. They refer to it as something in the miniseries. It's that the bright light is, I can't remember what they call it, but that was in this the bright light that came out of his mouth and his throat when he opened up his mouth. It looked goofy, but that's where that is coming from.
Okay.
You saw she looked into his mouth and she, went into her little trance thing or whatever.
Yeah.
That was a big part of the miniseries. It was just shown differently.
Okay.
So,
I liked when he got up that one time and all his arms and legs were doing these kind of goofy.
Was that when he was coming out of the refrigerator or whatever that was?
I think so, yeah.
When he was just kind of recontorting
Yes.
himself.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was kind
Yeah.
of
That was
cool.
actually
really
that was a
cool.
really cool segment.
Also, did anybody remember or notice the mentioning of the turtle?
Yes.
The turtle.
Did you
Yeah.
catch that?
When they were in the swimming hole.
When they're
and
in the
were-
swimming hole, yeah.
They were dipping down and
Yeah.
there was a turtle.
And, they step on the turtle. The turtle's the one thing that can defeat it. So, although they didn't refer to it, they referred to
it.
it.
Well, and also there was
I
a
don't
slight nod to it later on when
With the
Billy's
Lego.
in the Lego frog. Or Lego turtle,
yeah.
excuse me.
Oh,
Lego
yeah, I
turtle.
didn't
Oh,
notice
that's
that.
right.
From
Okay.
Georgie's room, he
Yeah.
picks
Yep.
it up, and then
I didn't
when
know
he
what it
sees
was.
him,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, those little things, too, were, really
Yeah.
cool moments.
Did anybody else feel that this kind of had a Stand By Me feeling?
Exactly,
to it?
Stand By
Oh my
Me.
god!
Yes, very
the
much
first thing
so.
I thought of.
Stand
Yep.
by Me, Goonies.
And
Yep.
that's the feeling I got from reading the book as well, is how close these kids were. And that's something that was
And the
that there was
bullies and the
oh, you want to say bye to everybody
Bye, guys.
Thanks
It's
for
been a
joining us.
blast. Until next time.
until Josh drags
What's
you
the
to the
next
next
one
one?
that we have to watch?
Oh, I'm sure
Human
I'll find one.
Centipede.
Oh my god!
I would never make her sit through that. I'm not
Oh
even
my
that
God, I
mean.
can't even look at the front of that.
Yeah.
No. So thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Bye. No, that's something that I loved in the book that they did not have in the miniseries. They did not build up that relationship between the kids. And I really feel, and I think, Greg, you talked about it earlier. You said it kind of felt like a coming of age thing.
Yes.
And it definitely is that in the book. And I felt that's what the miniseries was missing. And I really felt they handled it well in this version of it. So I was glad to see that was put in there.
And it's still hard to get 550 pages or whatever into a 2-hour movie. 2 hour.
What was it like
movie.
2:15, 2:10?
Yeah.
2:15, yeah.
With the commercials, it was 3 hours and 45 seconds, I think.
Oh, with all the trailers before that.
Now, I do agree with Greg, though, as far as it being, that was the best part of this movie. The group, the kids,
Right.
the coming of age part was easily the best part.
Which to me begs the question: was this a horror movie?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I think it is.
I mean, you can't really call it a thriller because thriller is basically the next step down from a horror movie. But because there's horrific aspects to this, so is it a horror movie with a mix of drama, or is it a drama movie mixed with horror?
It's a drama
it
with
could be
horrific
that. It could be
elements.
that.
Yeah.
There you go. I can
and
get
that,
behind
and
that.
I can agree with that as well.
Yeah.
So quick question: when we say miniseries, how many episodes, or was it actually
It was
episodic?
two. It was broken to 2
Okay.
days, basically.
Okay.
I thought it was more than that. I thought it was 4.
Was it?
I'm thinking it was 4. I think there was 4 hours for each,
Was it?
Okay.
or 2 hours for each. So it was 8 hours total, I think.
That movie's not that long. The miniseries is only
shoot.
3.5 hours long.
Maybe it is.
so
just
Yeah,
2
but you have
hours.
to throw in all the commercials and everything else.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I was just curious.
Before, 4 days seems long, but maybe
Okay,
maybe
maybe
I
it was.
was 8, so I may not know.
How did I just rewatch it? I
But-
just rewatched it.
I don't know. That was the other thing I was gonna bring up. I'll be curious to see how they handle part 2, because one of the things I did like about the miniseries was it started out
Yeah, it was 2. It was only 2.
2 days.
Yep.
Okay, it started out with the adults and flashed back and forth with the kids and the adults. This was all just the kids.
right. So,
So in
they're
part
doing
2,
a chronological setup.
They're just going to do the adults, but I don't know. I was kind of curious to see how it's going to work
They
because
flashback in the books too. Isn't it
I,
going back
I,
and forth?
I
can't
don't
remember.
think it was. I think it was like the first part of the book was just the
Just
kids,
kids,
and then
okay.
it transitioned into the adults. And
Okay.
that's why I wish I had like one of those Hermione necklace
turners?
things that I can go back and have enough time to read the book before I went and saw this movie. But yeah, I think it was. I think in the book it was. But don't quote me on that.
yeah, I thought it worked really well going back and forth between the adults and the kids.
See, that's
So,
one thing I didn't like about the
You don't like it?
miniseries was flashing back and forth. I kind of like the idea of seeing and experiencing everything that they went through first, and then if and when they make this new movie, we know what they went through and see how they've adjusted in the 27 years since that happened.
Yeah.
Because typically when you do flashbacks, it takes you out of what you're currently going through. And so, yeah, it makes sense to do it this way. Whereas if you're going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, it's like, all right, what the fuck? Just get to the end and let's find out what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
The final fight at the end between Pennywise and the kids.
You know, I liked it, but I mean, it wasn't anything groundbreaking or anything like that, but I enjoyed it.
These are the things, though, I don't like about Stephen King's novels, and I love his novels, is the resolutions is always a disappointment.
Yeah.
It's always, really? That's how?
I mean, he
got rid of the monster?
retreated really quick
Well,
to me.
and they're saying it's because they had no fear anymore.
Right.
And here's a flaw with that. Georgie doesn't have any fear of him either.
I think he does.
At the beginning?
Not at the beginning. I think he does because
Well, he has hesitation before he grabs
Yeah.
it.
he has a lot of
But he
hesitation
grabs-
because
but he
you know,
still
like
grabs it.
that first
Yeah.
thing. Well, because he's kind of when Pennywise says, you know, your brother's going to kill you,
Yeah, because he says it first.
right? And he's like, okay, you know, because he's using that fear against Georgie as well.
It just seems
Yeah.
inconsistent, like with okay, but he easily kills Georgie,
Mm-hmm.
and then yet the other kids are absolutely terrified of him, and he doesn't kill him.
And why does he have such a hard time pulling the trigger on these kids also?
That's
because,
my point.
Yeah,
Is-
because he kills Georgie, like you said, right away.
That's exactly
But
my
he
point.
picks up Beverly, doesn't just, takes her back to his...
But does he do it to bring the
Similar.
rest of them down there? 'Cause
That's
he
that's
knows
true,
that they're-
but he also has a great opportunity to kill Eddie.
And
in the movie.
And Stan, he's basically eating his face.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
like,
exactly.
not
Stan, yeah.
So why the hesitation on the other kids and not so much
And that might be the
Because-
flaw of Stephen
because then
King's
there
book. I
wouldn't
don't know.
be
I can't
the
remember.
rest of the
part
book.
two?
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, those are the things I found disappointing about the book in the first place. Was after a while it was like, you kind of got to really go along with this imagination to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably my least favorite Stephen King book that I've read. I will say that.
Really?
Yeah.
You never read Silver Bullet?
No, I never.
I
did read
liked
Stephen-
Silver Bullet. Everybody brings it up. I dug Silver Bullet.
I never
so-
read the. I never read the book.
Maximum Overdrive?
I never read that book either.
Yeah, you want to go around the table and give a out of 10?
Anybody else have any more comments before?
Yeah,
we go?
I guess. Anybody have anything else?
I can't
That we
think
didn't
of
touch on?
anything. No, I think we hit everything pretty good. That was actually a really good discussion, I thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Okay, let's go. Let's go around. Tom's
Yeah.
pointing at Josh.
Yeah, I'll give a solid 8.
All right. Greg?
6.5.
What?
6.5.
6.5?
I'll give it a 7.
Really, guys? I'm gonna score it at a 9.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed it.
Okay, so new it or old it?
Which would you pick?
Are you new or old?
You can't ask me that because it's been so long since I've seen the original that I remember bits and pieces, and you're talking to the kid who was scared like shitless of that.
Okay.
So bad, don't ask me that.
Tom?
New for sure. I like the new much better.
Even without the second part, the first
New.
one hands down is better than the old one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I really
And then
enjoyed it.
one other question: new Pennywise or old Pennywise?
Old. This is hard.
Yeah.
Tim Curry, I absolutely love, but I really liked this Pennywise.
We didn't even talk about Skarsgård and his performance.
Yeah, we
thought he
should
was
maybe
great.
go back and
I
touch
thought
on that
he
just a
was
little
great.
bit. You didn't like his look.
But what did you think about his performance?
I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say because was he creepy as a clown? Yeah. He came off goofy at points, which as a clown I can respect. But I don't know. I don't know. There was something about him that just looked. It might have been the teeth. His two front teeth were like elongated, and that just looked like he was like
He had buck
Bugs-
teeth.
Yeah, he looked like Bugs Bunny dressed up as a fucking clown. I could not I don't know. I mean, when the sharp fangs came out, I give him a little bit more appreciation for the look because that looked freaking terrifying. But everything up until that point was not so much. No.
I like I said, I love the new look. There were things that he would do that I just thought were nice additions. Like when he got really intense on something, he'd just start drooling. I don't know if you guys caught that. First time I noticed it was in the sewer, and I thought maybe that's just water running off of his face. But if you notice, the rest of his face is not wet. And then all of a sudden there's just water running out of his mouth, and there was a couple other places where drool was just dropping out. And I assume that was an actor thing and not a CGI thing.
I hope so.
But there was another thing I noticed, and I don't know if it was an actor thing or a CGI thing, but every once in a while when he'd start to get crazy, his eye would start drifting to one side.
I didn't catch that either.
Yeah, that it wasn't like he was always staring at you. It was like he's staring at you, and then one eye started drifting off, which was kind of interesting. And not when he was like turning into the fang thing.
Yeah.
But the way he over-articulated certain things.
He punches he enunciates everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I liked his little kitty voice he did when he's with Georgie. You know how he had the two different voices and he kind of had the little kitty? That to me was scary.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that.
So I would have to, and it's hard to pit
Tim Curry's so good.
Tim Curry against Skarsgård because it was two completely different performances.
And it's a lot of pressure for Skarsgård to do something that's so iconic.
So iconic, yeah.
So well known.
Yeah. But if I were to choose, I would go with Skarsgård.
And Josh?
Yeah, two different, like you said, performances. Bill Skarsgård's best part was at the beginning with Georgie. That was my favorite.
I agree.
Yeah.
Of what he did throughout the whole movie. I didn't like the neurotic, fast running motion things that they did with him. Whenever he came out of the water and then he'd run after him really
Right.
fast.
It was really
those
jerky.
were just really weird. I didn't understand.
Well, and those are kind of two different
Why
things.
they did that?
Is it performance, or are we talking about the character?
Well, I'm just talking. In general,
No, I
throughout
agree,
the
I
movie.
agree. There's
Yeah,
kinda two
there's
different-
a lot of things that I didn't like. What?
Go. Sorry.
That I did not like. And again, I don't know if they were his choices or they just did that. In the movie, they made him do that.
Well, that would have been a post-editing thing.
Yeah,
when
true.
he was in
Yeah,
the basement,
true.
and they was doing the whole
Yeah. Just
He does it,
there's a lot of things that I didn't like that
Yeah.
they did with the character in the movie. But Bill Skarsgård was fantastic.
Right.
Yeah, he
And
was really fantastic.
would doubt he'd be my choice.
But then I guess I wonder who acted the part better than Tim Curry, who couldn't rely on CGI, or Skarsgård, who his performance was enhanced by
Heavily.
CGI.
Yeah.
I would almost give the nod, and I always give the nod to the one who does it most naturally, just because CGI is so easy. You can turn frickin' Bruce Banner into the Hulk any day of the week, but you take somebody like Lou Ferrigno, who's
A brilliant actor.
exactly, he doesn't have that to work with. He's got only himself and himself alone, and
Right.
maybe some stellar makeup. So that's why I always give the nod I'd give the nod to Tim Curry, just because he had none of that to really rely on.
They could have done the same thing though with the teeth with Bill Skarsgård. He would,
Oh my
Hey,
god!
sorry about that.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
and he would have been
Party foul.
as good.
Oh, I'm sure if he would have done that, then more power to him. I don't want to take that away because what he was able to do with that was pretty freaking creepy. But I still feel like if you know in the back of your mind, oh, they're gonna enhance this projector scene with CGI and make me look 10 feet tall and
That was
tower.
kind of a cool
There
scene.
was
that was
something.
that was a really cool
And
scene.
we all knew it was coming because we all saw that trailer, right?
Yeah,
not what's coming
not the
out of
final
it.
part of it
Not
though.
the final part,
Yeah.
but I mean, I kind of wish I didn't know that was coming.
Yeah.
That was kind of
Yeah.
a cool effect. And in the miniseries, it's a newspaper, right?
It's
It's
not
a
a
book.
newspaper. It's
It's like a
it's
flip book.
Oh, it's the book he does in the library.
it's the book that he had
Yeah.
in the library.
Because they kind of do that.
Yeah, that
Okay.
Ben had in
It
the
comes to
library.
life, and he does all this. Yeah,
Okay.
I would like to make a positive comment towards the costuming and the choices that they made with Bill Skarsgård's character was the eyes. They really used the eyes well in this, especially in I think of the sewer scene with Georgie and it's just the eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Like right
Yeah.
there.
That was good.
Or in the basement with the water, and it just pops up in those bright yellow and red eyes. You're just like,
The opening scene too, though, when Georgie goes into the basement to get the wax, and you see the two yellow.
Yes.
The
I did.
two
I
shining
was
things.
like, I loved that little nod too when they did that. So
was that a nod to something from?
I don't know if that was his eyes or if that was like. I was trying to figure out were those his, because they go away when he turns the flashlight on.
Yeah.
But were those his eyes, or was that just something else that
I think it was just reflected, because why would you want to give?
Because what was on the shelf? Wasn't it like two glass balls or something like that? That was
I don't
It was something glass
know.
on the shelf
were-
that was reflecting.
They
the
were like
light.
glass orbs or something
Yeah.
like that.
Okay, so they weren't the eyes of
No,
Okay,
no.
I thought they were.
But it was
so-
definitely probably a premonition that.
Oh
he
yeah,
had.
They were
yeah.
setting something up, and they did it wonderfully.
What was the scene where Billy? There's like almost like a phantom or a ghost or something. Do you guys remember what I'm talking about? That gets him to start. There was one thing, and the shadow just goes by.
The shadow past the door.
Yes, and I can't remember what that led to.
Oh, the Georgie scene.
that-
When they talk about when
When they were in the house.
He's in this.
he follows
bed.
Georgie into the basement.
No, he walked. He walked into Georgie's room and picked up the turtle.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that was Georgie's shadow.
And then you
That
saw
was-
the shadow, and that was Georgie.
He was leading
Yeah.
down into the
leading him
basement,
down into the basement.
because then Georgie emerges right
That's
before
what it was.
Pennywise
Yeah.
comes out of the water.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
so wrap this up then.
yeah, go.
I guess.
Yeah,
Any plugs?
If you're looking for some high quality movie reviews, why do I say high quality?
that last one was good. The '80s one, I read it. It was great. Yeah,
Okay, we'll start over. If you're looking for some high quality movie reviews, step over to gregthemovieguy.blogspot.com. Hopefully by tomorrow, if not sometime this week, there will be the review for it.
go read it.
That's Friday the 13th. Never mind. Which actually is coming up this week. Fun fact: this Friday is Friday the 13th.
Oh,
Excellent. Jump over there, check out what I've got. I've got some good stuff on there. I tried doing a Indiana Jones series, and it's probably not going to happen. So we'll just continue moving on, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. Again, that's gregthemovieguy.blogspot.com.
Tom.
I'm plugging my show,
Yeah.
The Odd Couple, Haymarket Theater, 803 Q Street, September 28th through October 8th.
That's in Lincoln, Nebraska, for all you national fans out
A
there.
few national fans.
all the national
You'll
fans.
be making that trek, I'm sure.
Prairie Lights Film Festival, October 20th through the 22nd, Grand Island, Nebraska at the Grand Theater. We got a couple films showing there. We've got Ghost Hunter that we put together as Midnight Frights. We've got The Contest, which is Crooked Codpiece Company, in association with Dream Awake, which is a sister company of Midnight Frights. And then there's a movie called Corruptor that I'm in, which I'm looking forward to seeing because the trailer looked pretty good.
Yeah, it's
for it.
pretty awesome.
So
Yeah. Otherwise, catch us at midnightfrightfilms.com. We will hopefully start dropping some new things on there very soon. Check us out on the Midnight Frights Facebook page, the Midnight Frightcast, and the YouTube page.
YouTube,
Yeah.
and we have an Instagram for
And
a while. We
Instagram.
need to do the Instagram.
Yeah.
Yes,
stuff.
that is true.
Yeah. All those places you can catch us, Midnight Fright Films.
All right, excellent. So I think with that, we're going to wrap this up. Everybody have a good time.
Yeah, go see it.
Go see it, definitely.
It's great.
Yep. Yeah, I would like to have that. So, all right. So, goodbye, everybody.
Yep, we'll see
Have
you
a great
later.
one.
Yep.